If you've listened to Nina Simone's Sinnerman, you know that it's more than a song. It's a transformative musical odyssey that lures you into its dark embrace with its hypnotic melody and haunting lyrics. It's 10 minutes of pure, unfiltered emotion. Desperation, redemption, and everything in between. What grabs you from the get-go is that iconic, haunting piano intro, as it evolves into a fervent and almost frenetic pace. It takes you by the hand and says, "We're going on a journey, and you don't have a choice." As the instruments gather momentum, Nina's vocal delivery comes in. It goes from soft pleas to piercing wails. Her voice is like the best dark chocolate, rich, deep, and infinitely complex. It's a sonic representation of the song's narrative journey, mirroring the protagonist's desperate run from judgment, only to find there's nowhere to hide but in the arms of divine grace. The first time I heard Sinnerman, I felt like I was embarking on a spiritual journey. Not called the High Priestess of Soul for nothing, Ms. Nina held my hand and took me to church. From personal reflection to collective struggle, the narrative arc of the song, the crescendos and decrescendos, the palpable tension. Each element is meticulously woven together to evoke an intense emotional response. The song is rich in texture, and deeply imbued with hues of melancholy, triumph, desperation, and freedom. When you listen to Sinnerman, you're not just hearing notes and lyrics, you're hearing a cry, a prayer, a celebration of Black culture in all its complexity. You're hearing the struggles and triumphs of a people, the personal trials of a phenomenal woman, and a musical tradition that spans continents. It's not just a song. It's a narrative. It's a history lesson. It's a sermon. And it's a call to action. To say I stand Sinnerman would be an understatement. Welcome to Stand the Culture, the podcast where we don't just love Black culture, we stand it.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
I'm your host, Imara, self-proclaimed cultural anthropologist. When we say we stand something on this show, we're talking about the kind of love that goes deeper than a catchy tune or a hot beat. We're talking about art that moves the spirit, that speaks to the soul. And that's exactly what Sinnerman does. To the uninitiated, Sinnerman may appear to be just another iconic tune in Nina Simone's rich repertoire. But it's more than a musical spectacle. It's a melodic storytelling of the Black experience, nuanced in its simplicity and intricate in its complexity. It is a cultural artifact, a piece of history encapsulated in notes and rhythms, and a still relevant critique of society's flaws. It addresses the existential crises that are all too familiar for many in the Black community. Crises that stem from histories of slavery, racial discrimination, and the ongoing struggle for identity in a world that often marginalizes them. Sinnerman is a musical masterpiece that transcends mere entertainment. It's not just music, it's alchemy. Sinnerman matters because it's not just a part of Black culture, it is Black culture. A testament to our past, a reflection of our present, and a beacon for our future. In today's episode, we are going deep beyond surface-level appreciation to truly understand and celebrate what makes Sinnerman a cornerstone of Black culture. We are getting to the bottom of why we stand Sinnerman. And why, if you don't already, you should too. But that's not all. We've also got some rare finds lined up for you. These will make you think, why didn't I know about this sooner? And stick around as we go behind the hype and discuss an overlooked element of Sinnerman. To round it all off, we'll be flexing our analytical muscles with the flex meter to measure just how impactful Sinnerman really is to the culture. So let's get started. Eunice Kathleen Wayman was born in 1933 in the rural town of Tryon, North Carolina, to barber/dry cleaner/entertainer John Devine Wayman, and Methodist preacher Mary Kate Irvin. She was a musical polymath. Eunice was a singer, pianist, songwriter, composer, arranger, and civil rights activist who became a jazz and blues legend. She changed her name to Nina Simone to disguise herself from family members after she chose to play cocktail piano. At this time it was considered the devil's music. As a classically trained pianist with an insatiable appetite for musical experimentation, Simone was not one to adhere to genre conventions. She mashed up genres like it was nobody's business, from jazz, blues, and gospel, to classical, soul and R&B. Her music often reflected the struggles of the African American community. Simone was a complex artist who imbued her work with layers of meaning, some of which can be traced back to her own complex relationship with her musical origins. One of her most iconic songs, Sinnerman, serves as a masterclass in this complexity, weaving together religious themes, African American cultural narratives, and highly intricate musical artistry. If you haven't heard the song, or if you need a refresher, check out her live performance at the Montreux Jazz Festival in 1976. It's a truly electrifying performance that gives you a real sense of the power and emotion that Simone brought to the song. As a dark-skinned female pianist who broke into the jazz and blues scene, Simone wasn't just an artist, she was a revolutionary. Her rendition of Sinnerman serves as a testament to her defiance against a society that sought to confine her within the limited parameters of race and gender. Her musical eclecticism seeped into the song as she infused elements of jazz improvisation, classical structure, and gospel fervor, resulting in a performance that defies categorization, just like the woman herself. She dropped this now legendary version of Sinnerman in 1965 on her album Pastel Blues, and it stands as one of her most iconic works. The song features Simone on piano and vocals, alongside an ensemble of instrumentalists who collectively tap into the raw power and emotion of the lyrics. It has since become certified in the world of music and beyond, resonating across generations and cultures. Sinnerman isn't your regular track. It's a 10-minute epic, rooted in African American spirituals, but transcending traditional boundaries to create something truly unique. Over its lengthy runtime, Sinnerman dives into themes of sin, redemption, desperation, and the existential search for God. Backed up by a relentless rhythm and an impassioned vocal delivery. The song came at a time when the U.S. civil rights movement was at its peak, lending it a political subtext that resonates with themes of justice and liberation. Yet, while the song's power is undeniable, its meaning is not straightforward. Is it a religious lament? A protest anthem? Or is it doing a bit of both? What are the implications of its narrative structure, and how does its complex musical arrangement contribute to its themes? These are questions that demand exploration, not just for the sake of understanding Sinnerman as a piece of music, but also for appreciating its broader cultural and historical significance. So we are going to dissect Sinnerman in all its glory. We will explore its history, break down its musical complexity, lyrical depth, and cultural impact. The song is a whole mood, serving as a microcosm of the African American experience, echoing the struggles of the civil rights movement, while drawing from a deep well of religious and cultural history. By examining the elements that make this song such a banger, we will gain a deeper understanding of Nina Simone as an artist and the world she inhabited, and why Sinnerman still slaps, more than half a century after its release. We will get to the bottom of why we stand. 1965 was a major year in the United States, especially for civil rights and social justice. The Civil Rights Act was fresh out of the oven from last year, and the Voting Rights Act was about to be signed into law that same year. It was a period of intense social unrest, marked by protests, sit-ins, and the struggle for equality that was far from over. Amidst all this, Nina Simone dropped Sinnerman, a song that would go on to echo the complexities of its time. This was a time when black artists were expected to entertain but not enlighten, to perform but not protest. Yet, Simone chose to navigate these choppy waters with the finesse of a seasoned sailor, using her music as a vessel to carry messages of empowerment and liberation. While not overtly a protest song, its themes of sin, redemption, and desperation resonated deeply with a society grappling with issues of racial inequality, religious identity, and social change. Sinnerman, with its frenetic pacing and crescendoing intensity, mirrored the urgent cries for justice reverberating across the nation. The song has its roots in African American spirituals, also known as Black spirituals, traditional spirituals, Negro spirituals, or just spirituals. These songs were low-key coded messages for freedom or expressions of hope and resilience back in the slavery days. Before Nina Simone took it and made it her own, Sinnerman was sung in black churches, on chain gangs, and during work in the field. Its roots mingling with the soil of African American history and spirituality. As a traditional spiritual, it was a lament, a plea for redemption and divine intervention during times of hardship and societal injustice, and a way for black folks to connect to something greater than the difficulties they faced. It was a cry to be hidden from a world that often seemed too cruel, too relentless. The song evolved into a blues song before Simone produced her unique genre-bending version. The song's roots in spirituals were deeply personal for Simone. She learned the lyrics of the song in her childhood when it was used at revival meetings by her mother to help people confess their sins. By adopting this traditional form, Simone was not just paying homage to her cultural heritage but also recontextualizing it. She brought a centuries-old narrative into the present, infusing it with contemporary urgency. The song's spiritual lineage adds a layer of complexity, making it both a personal confession and a collective cry for redemption, a dual role that reflects the African American struggle for both individual and communal salvation. While various artists, including Peter Tosh and the Wailers, have lent their voices to this timeless spiritual, none have quite captured its essence like Nina Simone. What sets Nina Simone's rendition of Sinnerman apart is how she takes this traditional song and turns it into a 10-minute opus of unbridled emotion and musical brilliance. By the time the song reached Simone's era, the civil rights movement was in full swing. The mid-20th century was a pivotal period that saw African Americans fighting for their rights and pushing back against systemic oppression. Music, once again, became a medium of protest, and who better to channel this energy than Nina Simone? The song taps into the broader zeitgeist of the decade. The 60s were a wild ride. They were a hotbed of social and political upheaval, from the civil rights movement to the anti-war protests. In this environment, Sinnerman became more than just a spiritual lament, it was a reflection of societal angst. Its themes of seeking refuge and coming up empty-handed could be interpreted as a metaphor for the broader struggles of the African American community, who were seeking justice in a society that often seemed indifferent to their plight. Interestingly, the song also plays into the religious revivalism that marked the era. The 1960s saw a surge in religious interest among young people and intellectuals. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr. were using the church as a platform for social justice, while the counterculture was exploring Eastern spirituality and esoteric practices. With its vivid religious imagery, Sinnerman fits right into this mix. A song that speaks to both the sacred and the secular, challenging the boundaries and blurring the lines between the two. It's also worth noting the global context in which Sinnerman was received. The 60s were not just shaking things up in the United States. They were a period of global upheaval, marked by the decolonization of Africa, the rise of liberation movements, and the spread of American culture abroad. Sinnerman resonated on a global scale. It took on additional layers of meaning, hitting different with listeners who saw in its themes of sin and redemption a universal human experience. It's a song that, while rooted in a specific time and place, transcends its origins to speak to a range of human experiences and struggles. From civil rights to global changes, it's a timeless bop that's just as relevant now as it was back in '65. Making it a forever mood. Taking a break from Sinnerman, we jump into Rare Finds. This is the segment that's dedicated to the deep cuts, the ones that you only know if you're in the know. These finds are so good, you'll wonder how you've been sleeping on them. With its blend of natural beauty and diverse cultures, we are going to Angola on the southwest coast of Africa for our finds. While Angola has a history marked by Portuguese colonization and a long journey to independence, today, it's making waves through its vibrant music scenes and trailblazing artists. And we are focusing the spotlight on Aline Frazeo and Caliph Ipolanga. Aline Frazeo is a singer-songwriter, a literal breath of fresh air in the global music scene. Frazeo seamlessly blends traditional Angolan rhythms with elements of jazz, Afrobeat, and even some Latin vibes to create a sound that's as eclectic as it is enchanting. Her voice is a smoky alto that can convey a universe of emotions in a single note. Her lyrics dive deep into themes like identity, diaspora, and the intricacies of human emotion. Whether she's singing about love or social justice, Frazeo delivers with a poetic elegance that's second to none. She's a storyteller, weaving narratives that resonate. In a world where so much music feels like it's churned out of a factory, Frazeo's artistry is a handmade, artisanal masterpiece. Moving on to Caliph Ipolanga. This guy is a jack of all trades and master of all. Writer, musician, and cultural critic, Ipolanga is like that Swiss Army knife in your drawer that can do everything. He co-founded Buraka Som Sistema, the electronic dance music group that gave Kuduro international exposure. But that's just one of his many hats. Ipolanga's written works are nothing short of transformative. He examines the complexities of identity, particularly Afro-European experiences, through a lens that's both personal and profoundly universal. His writing dances, yes, dances, between the poetic and the political, much like his music. Whether he's discussing music, migration, or the myriad intersections between the two, Ipolanga brings a nuanced perspective that's sorely needed in today's cultural conversations. What makes Frazeo and Ipolanga such rare finds is not just their individual talents but their commitment to elevating Angolan culture and experiences within a global context. They're not just artists, they're cultural ambassadors. They blend the local with the global, the personal with the political, and in doing so, create art that's not just beautiful but necessary. They represent a new generation of Angolan artists who are unapologetically themselves, sharing their unique perspectives with the world and enriching the culture. Back to Sinnerman. The lyrics of Sinnerman delve into some pretty heavy stuff. They are steeped in biblical imagery, echoing the fire and brimstone sermons familiar to Simone's upbringing in the church. They include themes of sin, redemption, and existential dread. The lyrics employ a first-person narrative style, allowing for a more intimate connection with the listener. The protagonist is the Sinnerman himself, and his plight is made universal, capturing the essence of human desperation in the face of moral, existential, and perhaps even social dilemmas. It's like we're right there with the Sinnerman, feeling his stress and desperation. And let's be real. Who hasn't been there, questioning their choices, searching for some kind of escape? Through the themes of sin, redemption, and existential dread, the song explores the desperation of the Sinnerman as he runs from divine judgment, seeking refuge in the rock, the river, and finally, the Lord, asking where to run to, only to be told there's no hiding. He finds no solace, as even God turns him away. The sinner man is unable to escape the consequences of his actions, seeking refuge but finding none. The theme of sin and redemption is universally relatable, touching on the human experience of guilt and the search for forgiveness. While the song's roots in African American spirituals suggest a religious interpretation, the theme of redemption, or lack thereof, can also be read as a metaphor for social struggles. In a society grappling with issues of racial injustice, the sinner man's futile search for salvation echoes the broader community's struggle for justice and equality. The song's narrative style is one of its standout features. It employs a form of call and response, a common technique in spirituals and gospel music. This dialogic structure creates a sense of urgency and emphasizes the sinner man's desperation. Each verse poses a question or presents a scenario, and the answer invariably points to the sinner man's inescapable plight. Like when the lyrics ask where you gonna run to, and the answers drive home the point that escape is impossible. They say, you can run, but you can't hide. This repetition serves to heighten tension and underscores the song's central theme of inescapable accountability. The line that begins, "Power, Lord," serves a dual purpose. It not only calls upon a higher power for redemption but also alludes to the political power structures that marginalized African Americans. The song's narrative structure taps into the existential fear of being left alone to face one's sins, which can be interpreted both literally and metaphorically, as a commentary on societal sins like racism and inequality. Symbolism is another key element in Sinnerman. The song incorporates various elements like the river, the rock, and divine figures, each laden with symbolic meaning. Normally, you'd think of a river as cleansing, or a rock as solid, but no, not here. Here these symbols turn ironic as they offer no solace to the sinner man, flipping the usual meanings and making you think twice about what's going on. This inversion of traditional religious imagery adds a layer of complexity, challenging conventional interpretations and offering a more nuanced understanding of the song's themes. The lyrics also evoke a tension between secular and sacred themes. While rooted in spiritual tradition, Sinnerman goes beyond its religious origins to speak to a broader human experience. The song's portrayal of the sinner man's plight could just as easily be read as an allegory for secular struggles, be they personal, social, or political. This duality makes the song versatile and universally relevant, able to resonate with diverse audiences. Sinnerman is nothing short of a lyrical masterpiece. The lyrical content offers a complex interplay of themes, narrative styles, and symbolic elements. Whether interpreted through a religious lens or a secular one, its exploration of sin and redemption, its urgent narrative style, and its rich symbolism all serve to create a multi-layered composition that is both deeply personal and broadly resonant. On top of it all, Sinnerman is more than a song. It's a cultural phenomenon that has crossed boundaries, genres, and generations. Its impact reverberates far beyond its original release in 1965, having influenced a wide array of artists across various genres. It has been utilized in various forms of media, and it resonated deeply with social and political movements. It could be argued that the song's cultural relevance is as complex and layered as the composition itself, making it a forever classic. In terms of musical influence, Sinnerman has been a muse for artists from all kinds of genres. Its iconic piano riff and rhythmic intensity have been sampled or covered by musicians numerous times. From hip-hop artists like Talib Kweli to EDM legends like Felix the House Cat, musicians have incorporated elements of Sinnerman into their work, acknowledging its influence and introducing it to new audiences. The song's killer piano riff and rhythmic heat just don't age, allowing others to bring the song's essence into new songs. Its musical elements are adaptable, capable of taking on new meanings in different contexts while retaining their original power. The song's political resonance is another critical aspect of its cultural impact. Even though it's not explicitly a protest anthem, it's been the soundtrack for activism and social justice movements. Its themes of desperation and searching for a safe space hit different when you're out there rallying for social change. The song has been played during protests and rallies, its repetitive driving rhythm serving to galvanize crowds and unify diverse groups under a common cause. In this way, Sinnerman has basically leveled up and transcended its original context to become a universal anthem of struggle and resistance. The fact that Nina Simone took this traditional song and turned it into a civil rights anthem shows the transformative power of Black culture. It's like she reached back into the past, grabbed hold of the spiritual, and hurled it into the future, where it became a rallying cry for generations to come. Sinnerman has also left an indelible mark on the worlds of film and television. It has been featured in various movies and series, often used to heighten moments of tension, introspection, or climax. Directors like David Lynch, and shows like Scrubs and Lucifer, have utilized the song to add emotional weight or complexity to a scene. Each time it shows up on screen, it's like a new flavor of the same classic recipe, offering up a fresh interpretation, demonstrating the song's versatility and its ability to evoke a broad range of emotions. The song's global appeal further attests to its enduring legacy. While rooted in the African American experience and the specific cultural and historical context of the United States, its themes are universal. Sinnerman has found resonance in international markets and has been embraced by audiences worldwide. This global reach has turned it into a cultural touchstone that speaks to universal human experiences, irrespective of racial, cultural, or geographic boundaries. It resonates with people from all walks of life because its themes are just that universal. Whether you're in the US or halfway around the world, Sinnerman hits home. The story of Sinnerman reflects the broader narrative of Black culture's journey from Africa to America and its subsequent global dissemination. This song is like a musical quilt, stitched together with patches of African rhythms, American blues, and European classical motifs. It encapsulates the diasporic experience, making it as relatable to someone in Accra as it is to another in Harlem or London. The cultural impact of Sinnerman is massive. Its adaptability and depth have made it a cornerstone in the canon of American music, while its thematic universality has ensured its relevance across different cultures and eras. It's a song that is as relevant in today's Black Lives Matter period as it was during the Civil Rights Movement. This song isn't just surviving, it's thriving, solidifying its status as a timeless masterpiece. Nina Simone, the powerhouse of talent that she was, is someone I've admired for years. But let's be clear, my admiration for her isn't just about her music. Ms. Nina herself is a personal hero of mine. It's about the woman herself, the path she trod, the barriers she broke, and the unapologetic essence of her being. The woman was unapologetically Black, unapologetically a woman, and unapologetically badass. In a world that constantly tried to box her in, she broke the mold. As a dark-skinned woman, her journey hits close to home for me. In a world where women like Nina Simone, and by extension, women like me, are often marginalized and underestimated, her rise to prominence is nothing short of inspiring. For a dark-skinned woman to achieve that level of success in an industry that even today struggles with colorism and representation, that's not just talent, that's a revolution in itself. Nina broke barriers in an era where people like her, people like me, were shoved to the sidelines. For me, Sinnerman is a piece of art that holds a profound and deeply personal resonance. It's a testament to the resilience and richness of Black culture. A testament to the power of women like Nina Simone, and like me, and like so many of you listening, who take the world's expectations and limitations and flip them on their head. In a world that often tries to silence us, Sinnerman is a shout, a clap, a foot-stomping demand to be heard. Now we step into the segment we like to call Behind the Hype. This is where we shine a spotlight on an often overlooked but incredibly vital element that fed into the culture we're standing. Today, we are putting Negro spirituals front and center, for the monumental role they played in Nina Simone's Sinnerman. This is a nod to the unnamed black musicians and composers who contributed to the creation of the genre that eventually birthed Sinnerman. You can't fully appreciate Sinnerman without first paying homage to spirituals. African American spirituals are more than just songs. They are like the heartbeat of American musical and cultural history. The spirituals were born during the slavery era in the 17th century, out of the African tradition of song being closely intertwined with daily life. They are heavy with emotion, hope, despair, and that never-ending thirst for freedom. Often rooted in biblical narratives, spirituals served multiple purposes, from secret communication to emotional catharsis. They served as escape plans, rallying cries, and gave voice to raw feelings. When you were considered property and stripped of your basic human rights, music became a form of resistance. This African heritage blended with the Christian teachings forced upon enslaved people by their captors, resulting in a unique genre that fused biblical themes with African rhythms and tonalities. Unlike hymns, which are also religious but are set to a specific meter and are more formally structured, spirituals were more spontaneous and arose from the heart and the soul of those who sang them. Think of them like a freestyle. They were an oral tradition, passed down rather than written, each performance a little different than the last. Imagine you're in the fields, the hot sun beating down on you. You're exhausted, but you break into a song, like Wade in the Water or Swing Low Sweet Chariot. These weren't just tunes to pass the time, they were strategic. Some are believed to have contained secret instructions for enslaved people seeking to escape via the Underground Railroad. Wade in the Water, for instance, was a coded message to escape via water to avoid being caught by tracking dogs. The dual role of these spirituals, both as expressions of religious faith and as practical guides to liberation, makes them profoundly powerful pieces of art. These tracks were like survival guides disguised as songs. Call and response is another key aspect of spirituals. This practice, deeply rooted in African musical traditions, involves a leader singing a line and the congregation responding, either with the same line, a variation, or an affirmation. This created a sense of community and shared experience, turning the act of singing into a collective event. This style influenced so much of American music: blues, jazz, gospel, you name it. The impact of spirituals extends far beyond their time, influencing many subsequent genres and movements. They were the precursors to gospel music, a genre that would dominate the religious musical landscape of Black America in the 20th century. The civil rights movement also saw a revival of these spirituals, where songs like We Shall Overcome echoed the resilience and the quest for equality and freedom. So, when we talk about Negro spirituals, we're talking about a potent mix of emotion, history, and culture. They're a compelling blend of despair and hope, suffering and endurance, subjugation and the ceaseless quest for freedom. Spirituals are not just songs but historical documents. They encapsulate a story that's way too big and too deep to be confined to just words. They are living, breathing chronicles of the African American experience. These spirituals laid the foundation for so many other genres. We are talking gospel, blues, jazz, R&B, and even hip-hop. Artists like Mahalia Jackson, Aretha Franklin, and, yes, our Queen Nina Simone, all drew inspiration from spirituals. It's like the family tree of Black music, and spirituals are the roots keeping it all together. Spirituals are still relevant today. They show up in pop culture, movies, and theater. Ever heard of a musical called Porgy and Bess by George Gershwin? Yep, spirituals. First performed in 1935, it featured a cast of classically trained African-American singers, a daring artistic choice at the time. Traditional spirituals are not just relics of the past, they're living, breathing pieces of art that continue to evolve. We cannot fully stand Sinnerman without recognizing the soil it grew from. Nina Simone didn't just pull this song out of thin air. She was standing on the shoulders of generations of black musicians who came before her, each one adding a note to the symphony of black culture. So, while we're here vibing to the genius of Nina Simone, let's not forget to give a nod to the ancestors. They laid the foundation, and Sinnerman is like a soaring skyscraper built upon it. So here's to the spirituals, the real MVPs behind the hype. In the realm of American music, few songs hold the gravitas, complexity, and enduring relevance of Nina Simone's Sinnerman. It is a musical odyssey, with its deeply rooted historical context, intricate musical composition, and lyrical content that is rich in themes and symbolism. It is levels above. It speaks to both individual and collective experiences of struggle, desperation, and the search for redemption. Whether interpreted through a religious lens or a secular one, Sinnerman captures the complexities of the human experience. Whether you're coming at it from a church pew or a street corner, Sinnerman talks about the messiness of being human in a way that's as real today as it was back in '65 and before. Yet, what elevates Sinnerman to the level of a timeless classic is its vast cultural impact, which transcends musical genres, fuels social movements, and resonates with global audiences. It is both a product of its time and a timeless commentary on the human condition. Sinnerman encapsulates the best of what music can offer. It makes us think, lifts us up, and most crucially, connects us. It serves as a testament to Nina Simone's genius and her ability to create art that speaks to the core of who we are as individuals and as a society. Over 50 years since it dropped, the song continues to captivate new generations, proving it's got that forever kind of power and relevance. In unpacking why we stand Sinnerman, we've unearthed layers of complexity that make it a cultural artifact, a rallying cry, and an emotional journey, all rolled into one. It's a song that asks more questions than it answers, leaving us to ponder its depths long after the final note has been played. And perhaps that is its biggest win. In its complexity, it mirrors our own, inviting us to confront, reflect, and ultimately, to understand a little more about the world and ourselves. Its historical context amplifies its depth, transforming it into a political statement. The lyrical content, rich in religious and existential themes, is a call to self-examination and societal critique. Technically, the song is a testament to Nina Simone's musical genius, blending different genres and techniques to create an emotionally charged experience. Sinnerman stands as a monumental work, reflecting the complexity of human existence against the backdrop of a turbulent social and political landscape. It's not just the story of one man's flight from judgment. It's the collective narrative of a people seeking spiritual, emotional, and societal refuge. It's a timeless voice that speaks to each generation anew, offering not just a melody but a message, a cry, a plea, a prayer for understanding and acceptance. Nina Simone's Sinnerman is a masterpiece that exists at the intersection of music, culture, and spirituality. It's a song that invites us to reflect on our own journeys, our own pleas for mercy, and ultimately, our own humanity. In essence, Sinnerman is not just a song, it's an anthology of Black experiences and expressions, a living testament to the resilience, creativity, and adaptability of a culture that has continually defied marginalization. Its history is as rich and layered as the numerous renditions that have graced our ears, each one adding a new chapter to this everlasting narrative. and that is why we stand it. The song resonates with anyone who has ever felt the weight of societal pressures, the suffocating grasp of systemic issues, or the yearning for personal freedom. It is a universal tale of human struggle and redemption, set to a melody that doesn't just get your foot tapping, but sets your soul ablaze. When Nina Simone sat at that piano and let her fingers fly, she wasn't just performing a song. She was invoking a spirit of resistance, of unity, and of indomitable black spirit. So, the next time you listen to Sinnerman, remember, you're not just jamming to a tune. You're connecting with a lineage of struggle, triumph, and unbreakable spirit. Now that everything is said and done, it's time to crank up the flex meter. This is where we rate the cultural impact of our episode's subject, dishing out flexes from 1 to 5, based on its influence, legacy, and straight-up awesomeness. So how many flexes does Sinnerman deserve? When it comes down to it, Nina Simone's Sinnerman maxes it out with a solid 5 out of 5 flexes. And why does it earn such a muscular rating? The simple answer is that it is a musical tour de force. For starters, we can talk about its musical complexity. The song is a fusion feast, blending jazz, gospel, classical, and R&B into an intricate mix that sounds as fresh today as it did in 1965. It's like the ultimate musical flex, showing off Nina Simone's virtuosic talents, especially her iconic piano skills. It is a masterclass in musicianship. Next up, we have the lyrical depth. The song doesn't shy away from heavy themes like sin, redemption, and existential dread. It pulls you in with its intense storytelling, making it both a religious hymn and a social commentary. This lyrical richness makes it not just a song, but a narrative journey. It pulls from spirituals and dives into existential questions. It's like a philosophy class set to music. That's a storytelling flex if ever there was one. From being sampled in hip-hop to getting airtime at protests, the song is a cultural powerhouse. It unites people under its compelling rhythm and impassioned lyrics. It has transcended its time and genre, becoming a kind of anthem for various social movements. Basically, it's not just a song, it's a movement. On the historical front, it's a relic of its time, capturing the spirit and struggle of the civil rights era. Yet, it has transcended that era to become timeless. It's as relevant now as it was back in the 60s, and how many songs can you say that about? It's like a historical flex, resonating across generations. Lastly, there is its global appeal. This is a song that's been embraced worldwide, crossing cultural, linguistic, and geographical boundaries like it's collecting passport stamps. So there it is, a full 5 flex rating, making Sinnerman a musical, lyrical, and cultural gym rat. And that's it for Why We Stand Sinnerman by Nina Simone. Now we come to our listeners' lens segment. We have made our case and now it is time for you to make yours. Did you have a transformative experience with Sinnerman like I did? Or maybe you know another classic that hits just as hard. Let's hear it. We want to hear your perspectives, stories, or questions about Nina Simone, the song, or any of the topics we've discussed today. Also, if you have your own rare find from the world of black culture, perhaps an individual who has been quietly influential, or an underappreciated piece of art, let us know. You might just hear your thoughts featured in a future episode. Hit us up on our socials, our website, or you can even slide into our email, for the culture. And that's a wrap on this episode of Stand the Culture. We took a deep dive into the iconic Sinnerman by the legendary Ms. Nina Simone, uncovered some rare finds with Aline Frazeo and Caleb Ipalanga, and gave a shout out to the traditional spiritual roots of Sinnerman in Behind the Hype. Before you dip, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. We've got more heat coming your way, so tune in for our next episode on City of God, where we will be standing the critically acclaimed Brazilian movie. If you enjoyed our discussion, consider leaving us a review, hitting that like button, and sharing this with anyone you think needs to up their culture game. Check out our website for the Flex leaderboard and show notes. And remember, we don't just love the culture, we stan it.